Welcome outside with the Insiders. Welcome back to NFL Game Day Morning. Tom Pelissero, Judy Battista, Ian Rapoport, Mike Garafolo. We got some trade possibilities for you momentarily. But first, Judy, what's the latest on potential changes to replay?
Yeah, the NFL could soon be using replay assist to put flags on the field that the game officials did not originally call. This week, Commissioner Roger Goodell said that would be used only to correct an obvious error. It would probably be used only in personal foul type of penalties, things like a missed face mask, for example. The NFL has typically shied away from anybody being able to put a flag down that was not originally called by the game officials. But Goodell has been increasingly vocal about wanting to use technology to help officials. He even mentioned this week the possibility of using AI to help officials. Expect the conversations around this to ramp up when the competition committee starts meeting at the Combine. And guys, that is only 2 weeks from today.
Don't remind me. The Dolphins have not communicated a final decision on Tua Tagovailoa's future, but all signs are pointing toward Miami's new regime moving on at quarterback. A trade's a possibility, but it's complicated. The Dolphins likely would have to eat a large chunk of Tua's $54 million fully guaranteed salary, and another $45.2 million dead cap charge would immediately hit the cap this year. A cut would be cleaner. It would allow them to spread that nearly $100 million in dead cap over 2 years. Expected a final decision on Tua prior to March 13th, when another $3 million in 2027 would become fully guaranteed. As for wide receiver Tyreek Hill, he also has a trigger on March 13th. $16 million would be locked in. He is coming off of a major injury. It is unclear at this point when or even if Tyreek will be ready to play in 2026. The health plus his age at 32, the money, Ian, all would point toward Tyreek also, at least for now, being out in Miami.
It certainly makes sense. This is a trade topic. You're going to see Joe Burrow's name pop up on the bottom of the screen. Bengals fans, do not freak out. I do not expect Joe Burrow to be traded. I do expect teams to call the Cincinnati Bengals after it appeared that Burrow expressed some discontent with Cincinnati late in the season. They are the Bengals. He is their franchise quarterback, not expected to go anywhere. But I do expect the Bengals to take his words and kind of use it to spur them on a little bit to really spend this offseason. Now, Burrow was clear, talking during the Pro Bowl, he likes Cincinnati, saying basically during the press conference, he kind of just had a bad day. Those are allowed sometimes even at press conferences. But I expect the Bengals to enhance and support everything Joe Burrow does, Mike, to spend probably more on the defense than anything else.
Ian, Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was in town this week. I spoke to him very briefly the other day, and I said, hey, what's going on? He said, hey, a lot of this is out of my control at this point. Look, there's been speculation about A.J. Brown being traded. I'll raise my hand. I've speculated it myself, and that speculation may wind up being true, but there's a difference between speculation and founded rumors, we'll call them. And right now, multiple sources involved tell me a couple of things. One, there's been no trade talks yet between the Eagles and some other teams, and there's been only brief talks with Brown's camp from the team. We do expect that to pick up around the scouting combine, which, Tom, reminder, is only 2 weeks away. I will say, though, that everyone says that A.J. Brown right now is in a good space, and just in my talking to him briefly, I got the sense that he was much more at peace and much more calm about things, maybe removing himself from the emotion of the situation. If they trade him, the Eagles, be a $43.5 million cap hit, so they're going to want some significant compensation back if it gets to that time.
Hard to believe 1 year ago today we were watching the Eagles blow the...
In Super Bowl 60, to say the least. You saw Nick Eamon celebrating with his family on the couch when he got drafted. Will Campbell was emotional the night he got chosen by New England.
You are brought to New England to protect Drake May. What kind of tone are you going to set on this offensive line?
I'm going to fight and die to protect them with everything I've got.
Which rookie's going to have the biggest impact tonight?
Well,
What do you got?
I'm going to fight and die for that guy, Will Campbell, man. Are you kidding me? A first rounder out of LSU. I love this guy. But you know what, Rich? He's starting as a rookie at left tackle. That's the blind side of a sophomore quarterback. You ever see that movie, Blind Side?
I have.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock. I really like her. Anyway, you know, this guy's got a big job, and I'm not saying his impact is going to be all great because he's a rookie and he's going to get tested and he's going to have a challenge, but he's given up some sacks this year as a young guy. But this guy's got a very, very important job. If he can play well, they got a chance to win. If he doesn't play well, it's going to be tough.
And I'm going to go with the guy we heard from a little bit earlier, Nick Eamon. He's a guy that does everything in this defense. tight piece in that Ravens defense. So he's going to be all over the place and have a chance to make a huge impact today.
Yeah, fellas, and I'm going to go to Travion Henderson. Earlier, I talked about Drake May using his running backs to find matchups, and he is a matchup problem. He only had 3 touchdowns in the AFC Championship, but he is their biggest big play threat, and he's no stranger to championship games. Won a national championship at Ohio State. And you can put him all over the field. He can run the ball, catch out the backfield. Even in the return game, punt return, kick return, he is a threat in this game, so I have to be looking at Travion Henderson.
In case you're wondering, Mooch in his notes, because I peeked at his notes, you did write down the name Sandra Bullock on your notes so you could remember who was in The Blind Side. Is that right?
I really liked the movie.
He liked her.
I think that was Sandra Bullock, so I had to Google it last night.
Yeah.
I did, so it went on the card.
Could have wrote down Nick Saban.
Man.
You know?
That all
Coach
goes
O,
into to get
Coach O.
preparing for an 8-hour show. You know?
Hanging out in San Francisco in the outlying areas, and folks are coming to work here. The sun's been up about an hour. At some point, the fog's going to lift, and the sun will be out. And at some point, we're going to get toe, meat, and ball. Omar Ruiz kicks off hour number 3 with the Seahawks. Omar?
Hey, Rich, one thing in covering these Seahawks that has become very apparent is how much they love their quarterback, Sam Darnold, for who he is as a person, who he is as a player, and who he's become as a leader. Offensive line coach John Benton told me this week that around week 2 or 3, Darnold started leading offensive meetings for players only. They'd watch videos of the opposing defense and work through different scenarios from all the different options they might see from those defense. They'd go through protection plans. They'd go through check calls with both the offensive line and the skill players. And Benton saying they saw an immediate jump in production at that point. It was not only good for communication on game days, but good for their camaraderie, and a big reason why Sam Darnold was able to earn so much trust and respect from his new teammates early in the season. Rich?
Well, Sam Darnold in that Week 11 loss to the Rams threw 4 interceptions. And still, though, the Seahawks had a chance to win it at the end and could not. With some folks already criticizing Sam Darnold mid-game, Ernest Jones told them what they can do to themselves afterwards.
I mean, Sam's been balling. Like, if we want to try to define Sam by this game or what, man, Sam's had us in every game. So for him to sit there and say, oh, that's my fault. No, it's not. He's our quarterback. We got his back, and you got anything to say, quite frankly, you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ernest Jones, everybody. And since that game, the Seahawks, look at this, have not lost. And Sam Darnold has been cooking, which I guess is the phrase you use when you're referring to a Seattle quarterback. It's hour number 3 of 8.5 of NFL Game Day Morning here in Santa Clara, California, presented by Intuit TurboTax. The 4 of us have been joined by Good Morning Football's Kyle Brandt, who's bopping around like somebody who is a little bit more well-rested than us.
I am Rich. I am fired up to be here, to fight, and to die for you guys like Bill Campbell. And I want to say again, 8.5 hours is more than 7 hours. So suck it, Hanson, wherever you are.
Wow.
You guys are the best right here.
I like to clean it up. You didn't get bleeped out there.
Let's get that trend in, though.
I think Hanson's in a gold zone somewhere.
Probably just fell off his chair.
Having no idea. He just got name-checked on NFL Network. All right, so Sam Darnold, does he need a win tonight to silence his critics? I have an answer to this question, but I want you to go first, Kurt.
I mean, yeah, he does. I mean, this is just kind of how this thing works, is that it doesn't matter that he's got his team in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter that he played his best game in the biggest moment of his career last week in the championship game. He's still got to do it again. And that's what people are going to say, is in the biggest moment, in the biggest game on the Super Bowl stage, did you play your best football? They want to know how he's going to handle this big moment. And then we could even go beyond that, because I remember my first year and had great success and won the MVP and won the Super Bowl. And then it was like, well, show us you can do it again. Yep. And so the critics are going to stay out there no matter how he plays in this game. But he can definitely quiet a lot of them if he goes out and plays like he did in that NFC Championship game on this big stage.
Yeah, but Kurt, he doesn't only need to win the Super Bowl. he has to go win Super Bowl MVP because then there is no, oh, they won in spite of. Peyton Manning, as great as he is, as great as he was, when he won his second Super Bowl, all they talked about was the defense. They won in spite of how Peyton Manning played. But if Sam Darnold can go out and play like he did in the NFC Championship or better, go win Super Bowl MVP, now Sam Darnold can have that what can they say now moment. So he needs to go out and win Super Bowl MVP, and then there's nothing left to say about Sam Darnold.
You guys. I mean, I hope that he has silenced most of his critics already, for crying out loud. The season, not only the season that he's had, how about last season? He's got 31 wins in the last couple years, and we know he was highly regarded coming out of USC, fight on, and it didn't work out for him. But here he is, and you pick Baker Mayfield. These guys are great quarterbacks. The perception is they're awesome. Well, you know what? The perception should be that Sam Darnold is one of those quarterbacks that can get your team to the Super Bowl.
I'm feeling you, Mooch. His legacy's set for me. I watched the NFC title game. The MVP, Matthew Stafford, had his A game, and Sam Darnold was just as good. Now, you can add to it today, but there's fewer than 70 players who have ever started a Super Bowl at quarterback, and none of them have ever been benched for P.J. Walker. I looked it up. He has been. He can add to it if he wins today. The problem I'm worried about, Kurt, if he has a game where he throws a couple picks and he has a fumble and they lose, there are people out there, the people who make memes for a living, the people who argue with you on Twitter in the middle of the night, are ready to, and by the way, leave Kurt alone. He's trying to sleep. Those people are ready to pounce. The draft folders are already filled with Sam Darnold attacks. I would hate to see him go down in flames tonight, but for me, the fact that he is here, this is what I'll remember.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, in terms of what you said, Kurt, from your own experiences, you can win Super Bowl MVP, and everyone's like, what gives? The next year, look at last year's Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts, in a curb stomping of the Kansas City Chiefs. And this year, it's just like, wow, what happened? What happened to him? What's going on with him? And he also, in a loss, could have won the MVP of that Super Bowl.
Should have.
And so whatever Sam Darnold's going to do tonight, it doesn't really matter in terms of silencing his critics. There's always going to be critics. And I'm sure he's used to that sensation, to say the least, at this point in time. But the fact that he is here is truly remarkable. Super Bowl 57. Why are we bringing this up? In-season acquisition Kadarius Toney scored a 5-yard touchdown to put the Chiefs up by 1. They would eventually win the Super Bowl by 3. The next year in Super Bowl 58, the Chiefs traded with the Jets and got Mecole Hardman back. And he scored the walk-off winner in overtime. Why are we mentioning all this? Because DeAndre Hopkins last season, the Chiefs traded for